Hi, I'm Anne Bowditch, and today we're covering anxiety relief, understanding anxiety through the subconscious mind. And this really is my preferred way at looking at anxiety, as well as to a degree through the energy system. Just a reminder to subscribe if you want to be updated, to hit the bell so that you can see videos as they come through. So the subconscious is often thought at as something that's quite eerie almost. And I do really believe that's because there's less understanding about it. But actually, to me, as a hypnotherapist, it really is quite straightforward and almost quite basic. But that's a good thing, especially when it comes to anxiety. So let's have a little look, because what I do find is there's a huge number of myths about the subconscious and working with the subconscious. And so I like to make things a bit clearer. 95% of our actions are subconscious. So what that means is most of what we do in a day, we don't necessarily think about. We don't think how to tie our shoelaces for the majority of us. We don't think how to brush our teeth. Those of us that drive, we don't think, how do I drive? We don't think brake, clutch, accelerate. We just get on with it. So throughout our day, most of our actions are subconscious. Very few are actually conscious actions. And what I mean by conscious is we think about them and we make a conscious decision to do that action. And our wonderful subconscious is effectively a massive database of information. And again, we can use this to our benefit. And in effect, it is our operating system. So if we were a computer, it would be the system by which each of us operate. The key thing is, though, whereas unlike a computer that may have thousands or even millions of computers exactly the same with the same operating system, we have different operating systems for various reasons. And the subconscious acts quicker than the conscious mind, and that is part of the reason why a lot of people experience anxiety. Because if you could consciously put things into perspective, realize, of course, that you are in fact safe, then you wouldn't probably have anxiety in a whole host of situations where you do. But that subconscious is incredibly fast. And this is what I love most about it, is we can access that subconscious to make the changes we want to make. I see the subconscious effectively as our friend. It could be our best friend or it could be our worst enemy, depending on how we use it. And obviously, my job is to use it in the most positive way. So, as I said, that subconscious is effectively a storage system, which becomes an operating system. So in that storage system is effectively every event that has ever happened to you. And what the subconscious does, like a tape loop, it runs those events over and over. The positive events are fine, that's okay, it's not a problem, but it's the negative events, or the events which we have placed a negative perception on, which are the problems. Inside also that storage system, we have what we refer to as learned behaviour. So sometimes we learn fears from family members. An easy example is a spider. Now, there's lots of people who are afraid of spiders, although for most of those people, a spider's never harmed them. So why do we have a fear of spiders? Well, I can remember my mum getting rather twitchy and sort of jumping at a spider that crawled up her arm as she was sweeping the floor. So that probably put me on nerve about spiders. Nowadays I look at a spider and I think to myself, well, you're a lot smaller than me, you're more terrified of me, I can see you want to run away, so I'm not going to bother you and you don't bother me. The things we've been told, you're not good enough, that's not good enough. you're ugly, the whole host of many things that we've been told over our lifetime, and especially up until the age of 7, are really important, and those are stored in our subconscious mind. If you want to know more, then have a look at my video on beliefs, because I talk a lot more about these issues. All our habits and behaviours are stored in there. Do you bite your nails? You might not want to be biting your nails. Well, stop. No, you can't stop, can you? The reason you can't stop is because it's in your subconscious mind. It's become an unconscious behaviour. If biting your nails was a conscious behaviour, you'd be able to stop whenever you wanted. Same with things like smoking and other habits that perhaps we don't want, overeating, emotional eating. So again, all the things are stored in there, even things that we're good at. So if you're a good tennis player or footballer, kicking the ball isn't necessarily difficult for you because it's become unconscious. So it's not just the negatives, it's the positives as well. And importantly, our beliefs, what we believe about ourselves. I'm not good enough, I'm not confident enough, I need to show I'm strong, and lots of other beliefs, maybe beliefs about other people. If you've had a very bad incident, for instance, with a tall woman with blonde hair, you might believe that tall women with blonde hair are bad women, as an example. And anything we might generally believe about the world, as an example. So the subconscious has that information, and we process that information and make decisions based on that information. So think about what you do automatically without even thinking about it. These are just a few examples: driving your car, brushing your teeth, eating a meal. How many times do we eat a meal and we get to the end of it and we think, oh my God, did I finish that? I don't even remember tasting it. Using a keyboard, I can type. I'd learned to type when I was younger, so I can type without looking at the keyboard. I know where all the key letters are, and that's very easy for me. There's a whole host of things we do automatically, and that is because those behaviours are stored in our subconscious mind. So let's have a look at the types of memories that might cause anxiety. Bullying is a really key one for anxiety sufferers, and it really does not matter if you were bullied yesterday, last week, last year, or 40 years ago. That bullying can contribute to anxiety. I had one client that was bullied through 7 years of her school life and then went into verbally abusive relationships. And when she came to see me, her anxiety was very high indeed. But we addressed the issues and the memories, and she ended up in such a much better place. And she really understood how that change happened and how she was more in control of her life. And abuse, and that could be any type of abuse. It could be verbal, it could be physical abuse, or any other abuse. And it does not matter whether this happens as a child or an adult, either way it can contribute to anxiety. Any type of traumatic event can cause anxiety. So let's say, for example, you were in a car crash on a motorway. You may find that you're very happy in a car going through country lanes or through little towns. But the moment you get onto a motorway or dual carriageway, that anxiety kicks in because you have that memory of that crash stored, and the association your mind made was not purely with getting in a car, but it was with being on that motorway. Losing a job can be a contributor because it's a shock very often to lose a job, and it can put you in that fear because you're in fear that maybe you'll never get another job or that you won't have enough money. How are you going to pay the bills? There's a whole host of problems that can be associated with this that can so easily cause anxiety. Falling out with friends and family, that can be so traumatic and stressful, And of course, it can lead to anxiety, especially if awful things have been said or done, and then you've got to find a way to get over that and through it. Something much more simple in theory, but getting a question wrong or forgetting lines may lead to anxiety in certain situations where you may have a lot less faith in yourself, or you feel you've always got to get everything right. It may also lead to procrastination or perfectionism and all of these types of issues. So that subconscious will play those memories over and over, just like a tape loop, as if it's almost on automatic replay. And that's reminding your mind of these situations. So unless something's done about those memories, then they're still there and they're still problematic. They don't just stop when the memory finishes, when the actual event finishes. The memories are there and they're still relevant to your life. And using the information retained in the subconscious, it will quickly recognize any potential danger. And danger causes the reaction of the fight or flight response. So this is your brain's attempt to keep you safe, but as you know, the impact can be ruining your peace of mind and enjoyment of life. So even though your brain's trying to do its absolute best for you, the result is really quite negative and unhelpful, putting you on high alert, causing those anxiety symptoms way before your conscious mind has assessed the situation. I've known people come to me who even don't have anxiety thoughts, but anxiety can kick in just automatically. And so it's a case of working out, why does that anxiety kick in? What are the situations that cause that anxiety to kick in? And then we can get to the root of the problem. So anxiety does come in many shapes and sizes, many forms. And when we're in that state of either fear or shock, confusion, the shock and the stress removes our ability to use the information and resources we do have available to us at the time. It's as if it closes down our mind, because again, what the mind and the body are trying to do is just get you out of that situation one way or another. It's not trying to analyze a situation. And that's why we just lack those resources at the time. But you may have guessed already, I am a fan of the subconscious because we can use it in its most positive way. So I look upon the subconscious as our friend when we get to use it in that positive way. It is effectively trying to do its best for you. It's trying to look after you and trying to keep you safe. I think it's good to acknowledge that. So when you get that anxiety, just know that is your subconscious trying to keep you safe. But it is the information stored in there, and if you like, the emotions and the other attachments we make with that information that we attach together, that is giving you the incorrect messages and setting off that anxiety. And the messages also through those stress hormones go out to your physical body in order to address the situation, causing that fight or flight response. But what if you access that subconscious mind? What if you made some changes there? So how do we access it? Well, in effect, we relax. I use regression, which again probably has a lot of attachments to it in the way people think about regression, but it really is just to be aware of that memory in whatever way you are aware of it, and we start to remove the emotion and create a much more positive picture. So when you're in that more relaxed state, you can review that memory. You're in a much calmer position. Your mind is in a more solution-focused state. So rather than when you're in that actual event and you're immensely stressed and in fear, well, when we can step back from it in a calmer state, the mind can start to create solutions. We can remove that negative emotion. And through regression, you can then create new, more empowering memories. And these become imprinted in the mind. And through these memories, this can give you what it is that you need or needed at the time, whether that is confidence or to stand up for yourself or absolutely anything else that gives you those good feelings. And this in turn begins to balance your belief system, moving you away from fear, stepping more into feeling more confident in yourself and all the other changes that you need to make on a personal level, so that your belief system becomes much more positive. You tend to believe more in yourself and you have a lot less fear. Now, regression is one way to access the subconscious and to make changes, but there are other ways of using that subconscious. We can ask it questions. When you're in that more relaxed state, we can ask questions and get more answers. We can use the wonderful skill of visualization to create more positivity. We can put more of what you need and want in there. If you need confidence, we can talk more about confidence. If you want calm, we can talk more about calm. When you're in that relaxed state, we can create something much more beneficial and positive for you. And we have a wider perspective on life, whereas when you're in that fear or confusion or shock, all your perspectives close down. But now we can open them back up and we can look at a whole host of new possibilities, bring in many more resources, tools and abilities. And of course, with that wonderful subconscious, we can show you what you can do. Anxiety tends to focus on what you cannot do. But when you're in that relaxed state, we can focus on what you can do. If you'd like to know more, my book, The Energy of Anxiety, explains techniques to work with that wonderful subconscious mind, much more information and help, including a whole host of exercises to help you to take charge of that anxiety to get it out of your life. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to view more in the series, just a reminder to hit that subscribe button and ding the bell, and then you'll get updates. Thanks again for watching.